not going to bump you this time.
All right. It's good not to be bumped, I tell you. Appreciate it. Can y'all hear? Thank you for having me. Apologize for being a little more casual today than normal. I've got some stuff that a jacket doesn't behoove me to wear today, and I knew my friends in Fairfield wouldn't mind. Couple of brief updates. Courthouse update, a reminder our Veterans Services offices have moved across the street to Milo, and I know a lot of people out here avail themselves of that service, so if you are there, make sure you're going across the main street to Milo. If you need in to register deeds, finance mayor's office, you have to come in the back on Thurman. And we are definitely a construction zone right now. They're removing the roof, even the concrete layer. So they're taking the roof completely down and about to replace it. So there's going to be one door open either towards the back by Forte's side or the very back. So just be very mindful if you need to get there. It is open though. If you need anything from the court clerks, we just opened a new drive-through window out at the new location on 1760 South Main Street. So you can drive through now for your tags. You don't even have to get out of your vehicle. Fair is going on. How many of y'all been to the county fair? Shame, goodness. We have a great award-winning fair. It's going on now. I took my granddaughter Asa last night. For those of you that are grandparents, you know how that is. There was a couple other people tagging along. I can't remember their names. Parents, I think they said. But I took the granddaughter. It was great. Last thing I want to say is thank you so much to Mary Jo and the staff out here. I know this whole community just really opened itself up for the women's open golf tournament. That was spectacular. You did a great job. It's the talk of the town and the community in Knoxville too. People were really impressed with the show y'all put on, and it was just outstanding. So kudos to Fairfield and everyone involved in that. It was excellent. I really enjoyed being out here. And if anybody has any questions, I am here to answer them. Yeah.
Hi there. Can you give us an idea of what the unemployment rate is in the county at this point in time?
It varies significantly month to month. We were just below 4% the last time I saw it, but it pops up anywhere from 4.5 down to 3.5, and it varies quite a bit from month to month. But we're on par to less than everything else in the Upper Cumberland generally.
Just so everybody knows, the question was what was the unemployment rate here in Cumberland County, because the streamers can't necessarily.
If I told you today, it'd be wrong because it really does pop up multiple, parts of a percent every time. Last time I saw, I think it was, I shouldn't say it, 4.1, I think. Anyone else? All right, well, I hate to speak and run, but I have got to run today, and if y'all need me, you know how to get a hold of me. Thank y'all.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Foster.
Also, we have Colleen Mull here. I saw her earlier. I think she stayed. Stand up, Colleen, so people can see you.
Joe.
Oh, we got Joe here too. There. I didn't see you come in. I saw Colleen, I didn't see you. So if you two could just stand so people know who our two commissioners are here. Yeah. Just so people know who you are. Yeah, if there's something you want to say, come on up.
I just wanted to mention that in the last commission meeting, the opioid task force kind of finished its process and the commission approved a process, whereas the county now is working to have a fully functional 24/7 call line related to, not the county, the process related to the opioid crisis and trying to resolve that. Colleen is extremely involved in that, so if you have specific questions on how it's going to play out, please connect with her. But since I led the task force and we went through the commission and got that in play, I just wanted to let you know that it is fully ready to go now in terms of the details, and that's being worked by Mayor Foster and Colleen and her team. Thanks.
Anything else? Any questions for the commissioners? Okay. This is the August across the board. Ballots for the election of 2 at-large board members went out the week of August 12th. Information regarding candidates was sent out with the ballots, and candidate profiles along with other materials are posted on the member section of the Community Club website. The stream of Meet the Candidate Night is also posted on the member website. As a reminder, Voting ends at 11:59 p.m. Friday, September 6, 2024. If you have not received your ballot, please stop by Admin 1 as soon as possible to get things worked out so that you do have a ballot if you're supposed to get one. Annual meeting announcement. The annual meeting for Fairfield Glade Community Club will be held here in the center on September 20th at 10 a.m. We encourage all people to come and hear what's gone on for the year, and also you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions at the end. Capital Plan and Druid Hills project updates. If you are unable to stay after the July board meeting for the special session on the topics of the Druid Hills project and the 10-year capital plan spending plan, this special session was streamed and posted on the member website. Budget process. The budget process for 2025 is well underway, with all necessary parties engaged in providing their required input to ensure that we stay on timeline. Operating budgets were sent to the department heads at the end of July, and they had until the third week of August to complete both their payroll budgets and their operating budgets. As of this week, some of these operating budgets are in the process of being reviewed by the general manager, COO, and the department heads to ensure that all are in agreement. During early September, senior managers will present their operating budget to the FAC with the general manager. By mid-September, the capital and operating budgets are planned to be completed. The strategic plan update. The board of directors provided the strategic planning committee with the final comments during the August 14th appeals executive session. The committee will present the plan at a town hall meeting scheduled at the center, that's here, Wednesday, September 4th at 3 p.m., 3 to 5 is the actual time that it's going to be. Members who would like to share comments regarding the strategic planning initiative can reach out by sending email messages to the team at strategicplanning@fairfieldglade.cc. Information concerning the strategic planning team is also available on the community club website at www.fairfieldglade.cc. The Druid Hills Golf Club project. The Golf Performance Center construction continues without any major issues, with planned completion by the end of October. A capital authorization request will be presented today to approve funds to engage a contractor to work with the architect, Vic Jones, as the project design for the clubhouse continues. Funds are also being requested to hire a contractor to perform a hazardous materials inspection of the current Druid Hills clubhouse, so any hazardous materials can be safely removed prior to demolition. The modular building is in process and is scheduled to come off the assembly line the last week of September. Also, we are still looking at options for the food truck and should be making a decision in the near future. Finally, the TrackMan has been removed from the center to enable this space to be converted into a meeting room. This will permit central tea times to move into room C over at the library building without interrupting any meeting schedules. Members who would like to share additional comments regarding the Druid Hills Golf Club project can do so by sending an email to the steering committee at druidhillsprojects@fairfieldglade.cc. Emergency Services Complex Update. AEI of Cookeville continues to work on both the architectural design and engineering work for the emergency service complex, as well as initial exterior conceptual drawings. The county continues the process of removing the crushed stone that's stored on the site. The latest draft of the proposed architectural drawings and site plan will be reviewed by the board in conjunction with financial review compared to the proposed project budget, and will then share the plans with the ESC Planning Group. Wildwood Stables Update. The committee presented their recommendations report of the Board of Directors at the July 24th workshop board meeting. The committee recommendation included information to assist the board in their decision-making process on, among other things, pasture management, security, fire and safety measures, operations management, structural improvements, lighting and ventilation. The recommendations also included typical cost and revenue estimates for the stables. The board is reviewing the recommendation package and discussion continues. We anticipate a vote on adopting the recommendation in whole or in part soon. Tennessee Women's Open. The Women's Open was played on the Stonehenge Golf Course from July 25th to 27th. Chelsea D'Antonio from East Aurora, New York, won her first professional tournament, and Cheryl Fox from Tiffin, Ohio, won the senior division. ABC WATV did a great job of covering the event as well as showcasing Fairfield Glade, Crossville, and Cumberland County. The Meet the Anchors activity was a big hit as well. We have received a letter from the Tennessee Golf Association telling us how great the event was, how much the TGA likes to come to Fairfield Glade, how much they enjoy playing Stonehenge Golf Course, and most importantly, how much they appreciate you, the fans, that come out to support the players and the tournament. The Wednesday night before the start of the tournament, there was a players' dinner held here at the center. As part of that event, there was a panel of 5 ladies who were playing in the tournament and had played in the past. They were asked questions about why they played this tournament and what their experience was while they were here at Fairfield Glade. We videoed much of the panel and posted it on the member site. I would encourage each of you to go in and see of the members to see the members' video and listen to what these ladies had to say about why they come here, what has been their experiences here, and most of all, what you do to make them feel welcome here. If you watch that video, I believe you will see why we get so much, you will get a much better appreciation of why we continue to support and invest in this tournament. Finally, I would like to recognize and thank Bill Ward, Mary Jo Page, Jeff Houston, their staff, and Bobby Jones Links in making this a premier event for our community club and the surrounding area. Our goal is to make the event even bigger and better next year. We have a thank you to our departing board members. We want to acknowledge the 6 years of service of 2 of our board members, Ken Fuller and Bruce Cox. In addition to being at-large board members, Ken has served 4 years as our board president, and Bruce has served 4 years as our treasurer. They have been dedicated and selfless in giving their time and talents to our community. It has been a pleasure working with both of you. You have been great partners and advisors to all of us. We will miss your insightful comments and sound advice that helped us guide us through our decision-making in the past. We also want to thank Peg Fleural for sharing Ken with us for the last 6 years. We are very aware of the time commitment it takes to be a board member, and we want to acknowledge the impact and the sacrifices made not only by the board member, but the spouse and the family of the board members that take place. Please join me in saying thank you to Ken and Bruce for their tireless service to our community. Either one of you want to say a few words? Now would be a good time.
Speech.
Well, first of all, I was treasurer for 5 years, and
5? Okay.
that's significant in my head anyway. I just want to say one thing, and that's about the gentleman to my right. I didn't know Ken when I ran for the board in 2018. I'd met him one time when I went through the police academy. But Ken and I have become great colleagues and great friends, and I really appreciate his leadership when he was president for 4 years, as I was treasurer, as we worked through a lot of issues. And I've really enjoyed doing this. People laugh when I say that, but I've enjoyed it. I think the community has grown over the last 6 years. I hope I've contributed to that, and I want to thank all the current board members for all of their support and as well. But I've enjoyed it, but I am also going to enjoy going back to playing golf 3 and 4 times a week.
Ken?
Let me start by saying that both Peg and I feel very honored to have been able to participate in the community as much as we have. We're just now going through our 10th year here in Fairfield, and we have been involved. She did a lot of stuff with the Bluebird group and with the hiking group, and you know, I've been involved since actually about 2 months after we got here, and it's really been an honor to serve on the board. We've seen a lot of changes in the 10 years that we've been here, and as we've said all along, it's our hope really that we've left the place a little bit better than we found it. And I too would echo what Bruce said. leading the board and serving on the board is not a one-person event. It requires a team. And during the years as president, the board members really became very good friends as well. So it's really been an honor, and I appreciate it. So, thank you.
Again.
Now, you guys get the lucky thing. You get the commemorative
God.
The Charger.
silver plate. All right. At least metal, anyway. And so you won't just have to eat alone, there's two of them.
Okay. I'll find somebody to share this with.
These are becoming collector's items, because as you know, by the end of the year, we hope we're in demolition of the...
Are those collection plates?
All right. Let's get back on the point here. What's that? Well, we're going to find out. All right, I believe, Bruce, you're up next.
Yep.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Shall we sing? No, please. I want to point out that some of the stuff, some of the numbers you heard yesterday as part of the discussion at the workshop. And both this report and all of the financials and the balance sheet will be on the website, as well as your handouts. So it's not a repeat, but it's an update on the information that we talked and touched on a little bit yesterday. So I'll read you the information. We'll start with the balance sheet review. In sewer, we have $4,278,124. By the way, do you mind if I just go ahead and round these numbers? You can read them, and they'll be on the website. I mean, we can go through every digit, but I don't think that conveys what you really need to want to know, okay? We had total cash compared to $4.051 million in July of 2023 at this time. Positive variance of $226K. For the Property Owners Association, POA, and amenities, we have $4.8 million of capital cash plus $8.3 million of operations cash, which includes now the $6.6 million in operating reserves for a total of $13.1 million. Now remember, we keep talking about this 6.6 as a cushion or cash available, and those are in the reserves. We had a total of, instead of $13.1 million this year, last year it was 12.0 in July. And again, this is a positive variance of over $1 million in variance. The activities review. Sewer ended the month of July 24, with a net surplus of $346.8 million, with a variance to budget of $275.9 thousand. Now, the revenue was favorable to budget by $103,000. This was a result of the sewer taps exceeding the budget expectations for the first time this year. So every month before, you hear we were behind. Well, it was a timing issue. We got there. Repair and maintenance had a negative variance to budget as a result of things popping up, HVAC repair and a pump repairs at the main pump station. So that was an unbudgeted expenditure that came up. That's why we had a negative variance. The POA, the Property Owners Association, net operations was a positive $153,000 to a budgeted loss of $264, which results, though, in a surplus to budget of $417,000. Items to note in that variance is a positive $505,000 variance within the community maintenance, which had a budget of $2.4 million, but actual expenses of only $1.8 million. Again, this is a timing difference, as is due to a deferred paving, which we received $994K of billing with a billing of $425K. So many of these numbers, it's a reminder that we're going to get variances every month, and things pop up, and it's timing issues. That's the reality that we live in. This is, you know, a budget, and expenditures are what they are. Items in admin, the general expenses are exceeding the budget by $164.8 thousand, which is due to the contracted labor in the absence of a general manager and the director of finance, one of which is here right today, sitting right there. This did result in a positive variance to budget in salaries and wages by $168,000 due to the vacancies. Again, those will be caught up again in the August report and the September report, et cetera. The police department did receive their grants for this year. However, they are estimating that they will not be eligible for some of these grants going forward. But there are grants or other grants available potentially, and we'll keep looking at those. In the amenities, we had a negative variance to budget of $355,000 with a net loss of $59.9K compared to a budgeted gain of $295.6K. The decrease in the restaurant sales of $379.8 compared to budget caused the large reason for the decline. However, there were positive variances in all the other amenities, and also the cost of sales in food and beverage of 42% exceeded the budgeted amount of 35%. All of those things, again, because we're in the middle of the budget season, are being looked at and addressed. The golf department is below budget by $119K due to loss of rounds mainly caused by the bad weather in earlier months of the year. So Jeff is working on the weather right now. So we'll have that corrected. Thank you. I appreciate that. The marina's revenue is down, but we were able to mitigate some of that cost by controls at the expense side. Again, we look at everything constantly. This is always something that is addressed by this great staff that pays attention to this stuff. Overall, the POA and amenities had a positive variance to the budget of $62,000 with a net surplus of $93,000 compared to a budgeted gain of $31,000. That's the good news on the amenities and the POAs. If you have any questions, you can either ask them, send us an email, or right now we have everybody in the room that can answer most of them. And if we can't, we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Okay. General Manager's report.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for being here this morning. Greg and his across the board pretty much updated you on the current budget process for the preparation of the proposed budget for 2025. I just want to add on to that and extend a thanks and appreciation to all of the senior management team. It's been this way in my experience in Florida and the same here. It always seems that right at the height of season and when you're at your busiest with taking care of all of the affairs and activities of the club and of the community is exactly the time when you have to start preparations on your budgets for the next year. So they have really put aside a lot of time and worked hard on top of all of their other operational duties and commitments. So I really want to say thank you and make everyone aware of that commitment that they have. So we will, and not to mention also working through this interim basis, and thanks to Jonathan and his company for providing support. But we will be circling next week with meeting with one-on-one with SMTs and moving forward on the timeline that was outlined in the across-the-board report from the club president. On a dovetail on that, I have concluded CFO Zoom interviews with the final 4 candidates that were brought to my attention through the search firm. We had an agreement with the search firm that on any placement that they do, you have a 1-year guarantee. So under that agreement, we are currently operating on this new search. The candidates are very highly qualified. All 4 were. I have narrowed it down to 2 finalists. One candidate will be here all day on next Tuesday to interview, and the other candidate will be here Friday of next week to interview. They're all are MBAs and CPAs. So they're highly qualified, great experience. So we'll look forward to, I do, and the board moving forward into that final phase of the interview process, and we'll keep you posted accordingly. Following up on that, there are a couple of cars that have been approved, brought to me by the SMTs and approved by me, which don't meet the threshold to go forward. They're approved at the GM level. We have walking trails for $18,000, so work on the walking trails. And the center HVA system, we had some humidifiers and put in that were totaled $6,050. Along the recruitment and front as well, I'm pleased to announce that I have hired a new highly qualified HR director. She is a lifelong resident of Cumberland County. She has a very impressive career path trajectory over the past 20 years, and I was very impressed by her and very thrilled that her interest in joining our team. And her start date will be Tuesday, September 3rd, the day after Labor Day. So we look forward to welcoming her. Her name is Candace Neely. She is coming to us from MasterCorp as their HR director at MasterCorp. Also on the recruitment front, Bobby Jones Links has likewise has hired a new food and beverage director. Her name is Linda James. She has over 30 years experience in food and beverage and in club management. Most recently, she served as the assistant general manager at East Point Country Club in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, which was managed by Bobby Jones Links. They had originally hoped to bring her to Fairfield Glade when they originally embarked on their contractual agreement, but due to family and other commitments, it just was not the right time for Ms. James. However, circumstances have changed on both fronts, and she was very interested in filling that position at this time and has secured housing and will be starting on or about next Tuesday. So I look forward to meeting her and look forward to the contributions that she will be bringing to the Bobby Jones Links and food and beverage experience here at Fairfield Glade. With regards to the food and beverage report from, I received a corporate letter, which I went into detail with yesterday, but the bottom line summary, and as you, on the food and beverage, when you look at year to date, it's really an overly aggressive revenue projection. The total variance year to date is directly tied to the increase in revenues that they had projected thus far year to date, which was a $700,000 increase over last year's performance. So obviously, there's a number of reasons why revenues have not grown at that rate, some of which are relative to the economy, performance, management, weather, whatever. But it is what it is, and that's really the bottom line on that. So any questions on my update or anything else that may be on your mind? Thank you very much.
Okay, Barb, resort report.
Good morning. Timeshare report center, 98,300, which is 28% of like revenue. Racket sports, 10,700, which is 5%. Dartmoor Marina, $69,590, which is 38%. St. George, $34,191, which is 23%. Golf is $376,228, which is 8%, and food, $219,055, which is 13%, for a year-to-date total of $808,070, which is 11% of like revenue. Unfortunately, the timeshare revenue is down $94,000 from 2023. As far as Wyndham visitors, month to date, we've had 3,480, and year to date, 32,796. On a personal note, I'd like to let everybody know I'm finally picking up my husband tomorrow. He's been in 4 hospitals and rehab since the beginning of April, and I pray I can keep him out of hospitals. And back to this wonderful community. Thank you all.
Okay. Kathy, Election Committee report.
Good morning. My name's Kathy Tipton. I'm the chair of the Election Committee. I want to thank you for having me. And the committee has been very pleased to be able to oversee this year's election for the 2 at-large director positions and the 6 candidates who are running for those positions. And I always want to review our election season. Again, we had the election period, or I'm sorry, the application period, where the club accepted candidate applications. Then we had where the membership learned about the candidates. We hosted the candidates night, and we are now in the voting matters period, where voting online began Monday, August 12th, and voting ends Friday, September 6th at 11:59 p.m. As of Monday, August 19th, Survey and Ballot Systems, our election partner, reported a 13.02% response rate from eligible voters. 13.02% response rate from eligible voters. That is our online voting. So we are encouraging every eligible voter to cast their vote. And a reminder email is going to go out today, and a reminder email is going to go out on the 29th. So every eligible voter, we want you to vote. And last, the annual meeting, where the results of the election will be announced here at the center on Friday, September 30th. Are there any questions?
It's the 20th.
Oh, did I say the 30th? I apologize. September 20th. Thank you.
Excuse me. Nico Sergio. I would like to get a list of the questions that were submitted by members, and or could you publish that list?
I will take that to the committee and find out for you. Nico, is that all right? Thank you. Yes.
Tom Ratcliffe. First, I just want to make a comment, Kathy, to the election committee. Thank you. I think this year has been one of the best efforts to communicate, to educate, and get our people informed. And I just can't thank you enough. I think it's great. I also wanted to publicly thank Keith Robinson for his article and kind of explaining some of the nuances on the election. I still feel that there must be more, there's more to be done to make the process, though, seamless, and the ability to split votes and proxy votes, and with the board's indulgence. So I'd like to share a couple of examples, but I ask you for permission.
That's fine, but let's keep it no more than 3 or 4 minutes, okay?
Okay. So to begin with, last week I was approached by a member that I golf with. His name is Jim King. He allowed me to take and use his name as example. He asked me to talk about candidates, my research on candidates I've done, discussing that. As we had the conversation, he shared with me that he and his wife own 2 lots. They got 2 votes, and they were talking about candidates. And he had an opinion of 2. She had a different opinion. And they debated it, and his comment to her was, fine, I'll take 1 vote and vote for the candidates. I'll take my other lot, you can have that one. Electronically, he went on, hit the button for his. She went on to the email. We know how that would happen. She went back on, couldn't vote, because his were cast for the 2. That didn't sit too well. So, example number 1. Example number 2, I discussed with Mark McLean at Wyndham, his voting.
Tom, I'm going to interrupt you here, because if we're going to go through a number of errors that are happening, we really need to have those people come in and discuss that with the people that can really help them. It doesn't do anybody any good to go through a litany of potential errors, because those are individual things. They'll have individual answers, and there's a number of reasons why those things happen. And rather than discuss that here, it's really more appropriate for the people that are having the issue to come into the admin building so we can get all the details and get them the answer that they really need. Okay?
Thank you.
Now, if you'd like to send summary about issues that you've seen or something like that, let's get that to the election committee, but let's not take up everybody's time on issues that are very personal to people. Okay?
Thank you.
I'm going to add on one more thing, Kathy. I would like all the candidates that are running to stand again. We did this yesterday, and I want it to happen again today. Okay, and please introduce yourself, who you are.
Mary Kay Jacobson, Monica Heisel, Gary Trees.
Okay, so.
Can I say something? I don't know if it's appropriate or not.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm Bruce Evans. I own an undeveloped lot in Fairfield Glade and got the email for the vote. The problem is I've lost my login credentials, and so I'm unable to vote. And who knows how many other undeveloped lot owners cannot log into the Fairfield website to actually cast a vote. Is there a way around it? Okay.
So if anyone has any concerns about voting, if it's voting online or if they have not received their ballot, their voting by mail packet, they need to contact the administrative office, who will direct their call to member records. And member records will resend you another email with your voting credentials, and you will be able to vote using that second email. For folks voting by mail, that packet was put in the mail on August 12th. So it does take time for the mail to arrive. And when you get that packet, then that packet is processed. So it may have arrived this week even. So it just depends on how quickly the U.S. mail is processed. Any other questions? So yeah, if you have any questions about your voting online, email, or your voting by mail packet, always call the administrative office. They will direct your query to member records, who will research your situation and then find the resolution that fits your situation. Yes?
Is it possible, if you have more than one vote, more than one property, to get a separate ballot for each property?
That is a very specific question that I'm going to refer to member records. I do not have access to that information. The election committee does not have access to that information, and that would be a specific question for the survey, for the election coordinator and member records. Yes, Joe.
I believe on the email that you received, it says something to the effect, if you want to allocate those votes, you have to get a paper ballot.
Yes, that has to be done by paper.
That is correct. Thank you. You corrected me. Thank you. That is correct. Yes.
And
so-
this was discussed in the election committee.
Yeah.
And one of the things you've got is you've got large blocks of people that they don't want to do it individually. So if you will have small numbers, it works for you. We can get you a paper ballot and you can separate it that way. But if you get it electronically, it's got to tie the ballots to the votes. So that's just the way the system works.
And because it's so specific, I don't want to give incorrect information.
Right.
So we always want to make sure that we're telling correct information. So thank you.
The other thing I would tell everybody is if you are having problems, don't wait till September 5th to go talk to somebody about them. Get there right away, because the more time we have to fix it, the more chance it is we can't get it fixed. But if you wait till the last minute and we have to get a paper ballot, you're going to miss the vote.
That is correct.
So please, please, if you're having issues or you know people are having issues, that's why we're having member records involved in this, and please have them directed there, and let's go through what the issue is, and we'll find out how we can take care of it.
Any
So
other
far, I
questions?
know of no issues that have been brought up through the member records group that have not been able to get a solution.
Thank you.
Okay? All right. Unfinished business. First one is the revised tree policy. Sam, you want to talk to that a little bit?
The Architectural Controls Committee reviewed the comments that were received on the revised tree policy. Based on those comments, they have made two minor changes. On page 1 of the revised tree policy, they changed the definition of mature trees from a minimum of 6 inches to become a minimum of 3 inches. And also in the definition section on item A10, they added the following to the end of the sentence, and the sentence was, excessive cutting is equal at any time there are less than required minimum number of existing trees on the property. They added, or in each zone. That is the only comments that the Architectural Controls Committee changed, based on the feedback.
So this has been posted. It's been posted a couple times. We've gotten comments, at least 2 batches of them. The committee, ACC, looked at all those comments. This is the recommendations they've had. Are we ready to vote on this? Do I have a motion?
I make the motion to, for the vote on the tree policy to be approved.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The revised lot merger policy. Bruce, I think this one's yours.
Which Bruce?
You.
Oh, I'll be
Lot merger.
We have received another comment on it, and it is currently under review. The decision has not been made at this point. That is still open for discussion. I anticipate, well, actually, I know we will be discussing it at the next lot merger, or at the lot committee, which will happen this afternoon, as a matter of fact. And I hope to have additional comments or changes on that policy in the next couple of weeks.
So let's be clear. The time for public member comments is done.
Right.
Okay, we're not reopening it for posting comments on the website. It's now with the committee. They're looking into it. They'll have a recommendation for us, and we should be able to vote on that at the next board meeting.
Correct.
Okay? Document access procedures policy. Bill, you want to speak to that?
Yes, received the comments back from the posting period, and based somewhat on those comments and other information as well that I have reviewed and considered, that policy is revision has been tabled. It will be reposted next month for another 30 days of review, and then a final decision on that, or processing of that revision will take place. So for now, it's tabled. I will, as a reminder, because based on a number of the comments that were received, it's only the revisions. This is an established policy that's been in existence for a number of years. The revisions that are taking place are highlighted in red. there was a number of comments regarding existing aspects of the policy, and those are not being altered or changed, only the parts that are highlighted in red that are open for revision. But regardless, that's for future, and we'll have reminders of that when the policy is posted again in 30 days.
Excuse me, Nico Sergio. Excuse me. Could you acknowledge that when somebody sends in a comment, they at least get an email back saying that you received it? I've submitted a couple of comments, and I don't know if they were received or they were read or anything. Thank you.
That should be a good practice, so we'll talk about that. That you should have gotten something back, at least acknowledging it.
Thank you.
Okay? All right, moving on, new business. It says resolution of common property transfers. We're not doing a resolution. This is the first package of the Wyndham transfer of common property to the club. We got these documents, quit claim deeds, back in, I want to say like April. We had some suggested changes that we wanted. We heard back from Wyndham yesterday that they agreed with those changes. And the one change that we wanted is they wanted to retain mineral rights, and we said no, just give all the rights to the club. It's a minor point. It's common land. You can't do anything on it anyway. So they agreed with that. They're going to make the changes. They've already made changes to the policy. They will sign it. And because the document, the CNRs, really say that we were supposed to have done this back in 1997, they're just giving us the land that we should have gotten back then. So this has been a long overdue transfer of land. I've asked when we're going to expect to see the other 3 packages. There's anticipated 4 packages. This is the first of what I would think would be 4. And I haven't heard back from Wyndham about when that's going to happen, but those should happen quicker now that we got the language worked out, and it shouldn't be nearly as big a deal as it was this time, okay? So as we know about it, we'll let you know, but the first package of 90 or 100 of these common land areas has been passed over to us, and I expect that we'll get those signed here by Wyndham here in the next week. Yeah.
Is there a financial impact to the community? The question is there a financial impact to the community?
There will be an impact based on the taxes. We will now pay the taxes for those property. And the last estimate I saw was about $31,000 for all common properties, not just this package, but for everything. So that's what the estimate is right now. We'll know more when we get all of them back in here and we work through exactly what we've got. So that's what the anticipated impact. Okay. Now, Wyndham has already paid the taxes for this year, so there's no impact this year. Okay. And for those of you that, because there was one question. There was a question that I was asked, well, what are we getting for this? The answer is we're getting the property, and we haven't paid the property taxes for 25 plus years. That's a big number. Pardon me? Okay. But that's the way this works. The CNRs always anticipated back in 1997 that the common property was coming to Fairfield Glade Community Club. Matter of fact, more than anticipated, it said it was going to. And we do not have a right of refusal to take that property, by the way. Okay? So that's where we are with the property transfers. Major capital projects committee appointments. Bruce?
Yeah, there are 3 members of that committee whose term expires this year, and because of their involvement in significant projects, I'm going to be making a motion momentarily to extend their term to the end of 2025. They are Dave Miser, who is working diligently with the Druid project, as everybody knows. There's Kevin McClin, who is working with the Emergency Service Center project, and Brad Rutter, who is working on several projects here at the center. So I will make a motion to extend each of their terms until December of 2025.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. They're extended. I want to say one thing about this process, because it really was getting kludgy. It was really kind of dumb, really. So what we're doing now is we're going to talk to the committee chairs after the workshop meeting when the boards looked at these and kind of said, yeah, that looks like those are good ideas. And as long as there's going to be motions going to be made to seat the people, we're going to use the names here so people know who's being seated, so that we take that question away. And we got into a little bit of a problem with one committee last year, and we went off, I think, the deep end and tried to do something that didn't make much sense. So we're going to correct that. All right? Capital authorization requests. Druid Hills Pre-Construction Services and Hazardous Materials Survey. Dave, I think you're up.
So if you were at yesterday's workshop meeting or listening live stream, forget about the CAR that I talked about yesterday. And let me preface this new one by saying that this is all part of the $16.2 million Druid project. So it's not in addition to, it's a part of. So at the board's request, the first part of this is to engage Johnson and Gallion as our general contractor to construct the clubhouse and to do the site work based on the fees that they have given us. So it's not the total cost of the project, because we can't bid the total project until we have construction documents. But we want to do this as a team approach. We want the contractor working with the architect to look at constructability, to do value engineering as we go, and to give us updated cost estimates as we go through the design process. So the cost that we're talking about for this part of the CAR is $1,073,507. The second part of this is to do a hazardous material survey, which is required by the state before we can tear down the existing clubhouse. We got 2 bids on that. I've taken the low bid at $2,500. What they do is they come in, they take samples, they send it to a state laboratory. We get a report that then goes to the state when we apply to tear the building down. If they find asbestos or other hazardous materials, then we've got to do the abatement of those materials prior to tearing the building down. Hopefully, we won't. I've then added a 5% contingency, and so we're looking at, excuse me, at a CAR of $1,129,807.
Okay. Do you want to add anything, Bruce?
No, I think, again, this is a major step towards moving on with this project, and our hope is, as Dave said, that we don't find any hazardous material and that we start demolition in the November, December timeframe. And again, the schedule that I reviewed last month at the board meeting still is valid. So if you're curious about that schedule, it's out on the member website. You can go view that and send the Druid Hills Committee, Steering Committee, any questions you have. So I will make a motion to approve the CAR for Druid Pre-Construction Services and Hazardous Materials Survey for $1,129,807.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Sign shop. Dave, you're on a roll.
Okay. The sign shop. So this is the first phase of being ready to construct the new emergency services center. So the sign shop that exists is a falling down wreck. Plus it's in the way of where we want to put the new ESC building. So this CAR is money that was left over. We had $250,000 budgeted for this year to do the architectural and engineering to design the ESC. We only need 179,000 of that. So we have 71,000 remaining. We will use that to build the new sign shop. And the sign shop will be located in the fenced-in area that maintenance has currently across from Maintenance Boulevard. And so this will be constructed by our maintenance department using a little bit of outside help. We did get 2 outside bids to do this, which were considerably higher if we would do this outside of our own people. So 71,000.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. I move that we go ahead and approve the CAR for $71,000 to construct the new sign shop.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay. Any other conversation? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Bruce Evans.
Thank you.
Good morning again. I'm presenting a CAR for a new sewer extension down Pomeroy Drive, Stillington Loop, and Newcastle Lane. I'm asking for $87,860, of which $7,630 is for engineering and permitting, and $80,230 is for construction of the sewer extension by in-house labor. The current budget is $152,105. And with this CAR of $87,860, it will leave $64,245 in the budget.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nico Sergio. There was only one lady that showed up yesterday about the Pomeroy sewer extension, and she said that she hadn't gotten her letter. So I'm kind of confused that we're going ahead with the project and the people that are on that new sewer line haven't had a chance to come before the board and discuss it, or the community club members.
So we're going out of sequence here a little bit, Sergio. Usually the letters go out when I put in a CAR for engineering and permitting. In this case, I've combined the 2, engineering, permitting, and construction, and so the letters are being prepared now. They'll go out. Once again, the purpose behind the letters is to try and protect the homeowners, the landowners, from being undersold by the contractors who have previous knowledge of that the sewer extension is going in. Public sewer in front of an undeveloped lot increases the value of that lot significantly, and in the past, the contractors with inside information have approached the landowners, the landowners and purchased the land at a significantly less price than the worth, knowing that sewer was going in. So the letters are going out, they're being prepared now, the letters will go out, and the public will have an opportunity to address it to the board. So.
And hold on. The purpose of those letters, and if you read the letters, if you get one, you would see it. It's mainly around exactly what Bruce Evans said. It is around telling the people that make sure you talk to somebody who knows the real estate market to know what your property is now worth. It's not a letter to go out, do you agree with the sewer being put in or not agree with that? That's not the purpose of the letter. The purpose of the letter solely is to let you know that, because we had heard that prior years, this happened 2 years ago, I believe, was actually when we put the letters in. We heard before that some people were coming in and undercutting because they found out that the sewer was going to go in, and by the time that the person that got the value raised, they didn't know about it and maybe sold the lot for a lot less than what they could have. So that was the whole purpose of it. So, Sergio?
The other question or comment, what about Brandon Wood Circle? Is that going to be added to this?
No.
Has that been discussed, or?
That does not have a developed road currently. Water is only down to the first 3 lots. Water is only installed through lot, I don't know the lot number, but the 3rd lot on the north side, and the road is undeveloped. So when the road is developed, then sewer will certainly be looked at being installed. But right now, there's only 3 houses on the road, and the road is undeveloped.
Oh, a final question, I think. So if people that live along this new sewer line object to it, is that going to be an appeal that they have to do within the 2-week period, or would that be at the next board meeting or workshop? Thank you.
They can bring their concerns forward, but just like in Tawny Oak, it's the board's responsibility to talk about where sewer's going. We don't take those things up for votes, because if you did, the answer would be in most places, we're not going to put sewer in. And we don't, that's not in the best interest of the community. So you can bring things forward, but this body here is the one that approves where the sewer is going to go. Any other questions on this car? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
I motion to approve the sewer extension on Pomeroy Drive, Stillington Loop, and Newcastle Lane for $87,860.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any other further conversation? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Trackman room, Sam?
I don't have a piece of paper, so. I'm presenting a capital acquisition request form today in the amount of $33,000. This amount is unfunded, and as Dave said, we found some savings in other projects that would allow us to do this. When they're moving the TrackMan from its location in the center to another location, that room was modified when the TrackMan was put in there to raise the ceiling, change some lighting, some additional modifications. We had to raise sprinkler systems and things of this nature. We're now restoring that room to prior condition before the TrackMan went in there to allow it to be used for additional classroom, additional meeting room, things, whatever the center wants to do. We're just restoring the room to its usable condition, adding lights, dropping the ceiling, painting, flooring, and sprinklers. Is there any questions?
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve the TrackMan room modifications for $33,000.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any other conversation? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Comments from the floor?
Nico Sergio again. When are we going to see a copy of the Wildwood Stables Committee report, or whatever you want to call it?
Well, the board is going to be talking about that after this meeting, We have, like was said across the board, we received some recommendations from the Stables Committee. It's a very, let's put it this way, there's a lot to consider with that recommendation, and that's why we need to talk it through and see where we are. So after this meeting adjourns, we're going to continue on and have a meeting around that.
Are you going to release the report or not?
At this point, no. We need to see what we're going to do. We need to see exactly what's been recommended against what we think, well, what we're going to decide to do. So that conversation about whether or not we'll release the whole report will be taken when we have this conversation later on today. Ted?
Ted Landers. I have 2 questions. The first is, I understand that there was a pump replacement that was about $20,000 for the Stonehenge, and I'm just wondering how that got authorized for payment, since I didn't hear it come up in today's board meeting.
Sam, you want to speak to that, or?
It's not a repair.
The cars that are proceeded are capital items that are requested. It's new items, it's changes, it's modifications,
Right.
it's things of this nature.
Yeah.
Any repairs that my maintenance staff does that would repair or replace an item that's already involved comes out of my budget. It doesn't go before the car. I repair stuff day in, my staff repairs stuff day in, day out. We do not come to the board if it's within my budget. So my operations budget.
And the whole purpose of that, Ted, is when we have something that needs repair, we want to get it repaired to put it in useful, so it's useful again. We can't wait for board meetings and that kind of thing for that to happen.
Yeah, I have no problem with them getting repaired at all. I think it's excellent that they did that. Second thing is, and this, I really don't want a very lengthy response on this, but we have $12 million or so in association assets. How are those invested, and how are they secured without going into?
There's a whole report that the board gets every month where we list all the investments that we have, and that's part of our package that we do go through and make sure that we understand where our investments are going, that they are in fact secured. I don't know what percentage those are.
4% is currently uninsured.
Yeah, 4% is currently uninsured. It's a very small number. So
thank you. No, that answers my question. I didn't need specifics. Just thank you.
And
Any
Ted,
other comments?
the only reason for the unsecured funds is that those are basically funds that are in the checking accounts to handle payroll and that kind of stuff. Everything else for the reserves and all that, that's all invested.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Tom Ratcliffe. Greg, could you just take and at the annual meeting, there's, after the annual meeting, is the board still going to go into executive session and elect officers? Can you talk about that for members that
that's what
don't
we're
know?
doing. That's what we've done since I've been on the board. It's what was done before before I was on the board, and it's what we're going to do now before the board. Okay?
I'm Leroy Cook from 2003, so we've been here about 20 years. And I know Bruce and Ken have been very instrumental in answering my emails over the years. And all I want to do right now is to say that within your tenure, 6-year tenure, I've seen the various boards bring the club to a debt-free status, establish reserves, and set the club on a course to a bright future. As of the saying of late, thank you for your service and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Leroy.
Any other comments from the floor? Hearing none? Are there any remarks by board members?
Let me just add, the emails that we have received from Mr. Cook over the years have always been very positive. They have been legitimate questions. We have tried to give him the information that he's asked for, and he has always been extraordinarily respectful and appreciative of the board's service. And I want to thank Leroy for his participation as a very engaged member of the community. So thank you, Leroy.
I'm going to make mention of one thing that came up yesterday, and that was one of the members brought up the impact of Tennessee House Bill 2209. We're looking into that. We should have something that we can talk about with everybody at the next board meeting. Okay?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Tom, that House Bill number you gave me, 2209, that didn't relate to Homeowners Act. Are you sure you gave me the right one?
I did. We'll give you some copies of what I have after.
Okay. HB 2209. Okay.
Look under the Tennessee Homeowners Association Act too.
Yeah, I looked under that. Okay, we'll talk afterwards.
Okay? Any other board member comments? All right?
As a last motion.
Yeah, I was going to say we have a designated adjournment person today.
As a last motion, I am going to motion that we adjourn.
I'd like to second it.
We'll see you guys in your retirement, right? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned.